Hello, people. For brutal reasons, I'm low on dopamine. So this is part two of the Candace Owens Bassem Youssef. Let me just try to get to it. All right, we got it. So yeah, so in the last one, it was really good. It was really exciting. They touched upon so many things. So Candace started the last one, which to Bassem I feel like, or to Bassem and people who are like I understand Bassem. It seems like a girls' party, but older. It's so interesting. So Candice is leading like this huge like girls' sleepover sort of thing going on. And Bastem is in the middle of this, and so it was really funny at the beginning, but it got sophisticated as it went further and further. And Bastem proved that he's a very good communicator, that he knows how to deal with that. He knows how to deal with, you know, this situation, and he knows, like, so he presented his evidence, and he proved that he's emotionally invested in Candace, and he cares about her, and he cares about her audience. um and so yeah, so he's speaking about things that she didn't know about what Charlie said about the Muslims, these like jokes in poor taste. So I found that interesting. So she didn't know that, actually, no way. But yeah, I'm glad that he brought that up, because that kind of clears the air. So let's keep it can continue.
Blue lines. You cannot cross these two blue lines.
Two lines,
That's
yeah,
your
yeah.
only
There are two
lines.
lines.
So you can talk about the president, you can make fun of the president, about the Democrats, about the government, about the judge. Nothing is off limit. But when you
His way of conveying things is sort of cute and kind of funny. I think really fits well with Candace and her vibe. So I appreciate that. And he's also like it sort of attracts me as well. So it attracts the audience and her audience as well. So he's a generally funny and compassionate guy.
cross these two blue lines with a little bit of star in the middle,
Yeah.
this is
And his facial expressions, like, look at his facial expressions, it's everything. He's like, very focused, very. And this is something that I'm even trying to learn from. So your facial expressions need to be genuine, need to be really on there, as they say. So I really, this is one of the best communicators I have ever seen. And I have never, so I speak in Arabic as well, but I have never knew him until that he became famous in the US. So,
where we get you. And now you know who has the power. So I
all
think
right.
the more and more people are waking up, the more brutal that we're gonna become, the more outspoken, more stupid, more blunt, in your face they're gonna become. And then at a certain point, people will either give up, disenfranchise, or just people go underground, and you will see a violent counterattack coming from the people.
Hmm. I actually think you're right. I think you're absolutely right, because you thinking about that, if they came out and they were like, "Oh, we're going to run Trump for a third term," or if they just came out and were like, "You know what? You guys have no power. We're going to install Bibi Netanyahu as president of the United States," what would we actually do?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You because people took for granted. Oh, the president's gonna be there for a couple of terms, and he's gonna leave. What happens if he doesn't? Oh, the president cannot put me in jail because of my opinion. Now it's happening. People are being deported, being put in jail. People are losing government contracts. You have 37, 38 states that have laws that you cannot boycott Israel, which is crazy. That's actually
Crazy.
and that's a law.
Yeah.
So they're already doing that. And I asked a question in one of my videos. What
That is crazy. Like, so I'm not able to boycott Israel. So just a reminder, to boycott is to abstain from purchasing from somewhere. So you're forced to purchase from somewhere? You're telling me I have to buy from Israel? Because that's what the law means. It's insane. I'm just saying.
will prevent them? Nothing. I don't know if you're following what happens to the anti-Israel voices in Europe. You know, we always hear about America sanctioning a country, right? There's sanctions on China, sanctions on Iran. You know what happens when you sanction a person? When you sanction a person, and they did that from a couple of the judges in the ICC, they sanctioned a judge. He's Dutch. This guy cannot have access to their bank account, cannot have anything. Like, he cannot have money, he cannot buy a ticket, he cannot pay his own bills. He's just like a ghost. This is what happens when America sanctions a person in a foreign country. What prevents America from sanctioning you and just like wiping up your bank accounts or deport or denaturalize you and then send you home or put you in jail? What would prevent
So a
them?
couple of things I would say. I would push back and say, first and foremost, we're a big country.
Yes.
America's not like a little European country, big country. Also, our general attitude is very
So what does that have to do? So being a big country, I don't think she, but we will see. I mean, but it feels like she doesn't get the thing. I mean, just like what he said, what prevents the government from targeting us as individuals? So we will see what she says about that.
not like a little European country, big country. Also, our general attitude is very different. Like I remark whenever I go to the UK at how polite even like their protesters are. Like when I was being protested, when I was speaking at some UK campuses, me and Charlie, they were like very polite. They were like holding signs and were like, "We would really like you not to be here." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." That was it. America's a little ratchet in those ways. America is a nation that they actually trained up for generations to always revolt. Like, I mean, we're constantly in revolt at all times. And so I'm not sure that when they start showing up to doors, and we saw this recently down in Miami where the police officer showed up and was like, "Did you send this tweet?" I don't know that, the country that brought you BLM riots and is going to be like, "No, that's fine." Like, we're just going to be like knocking on people's doors being like, "Here's the tweet."
May I challenge this point?
Yeah, of course. I'd love you to challenge it.
Because the same country who, had the BLM riots, the same country who stood against Vietnam and the same country who stood against the Iraq war, this same country, again, we've seen a microsome of what they can do in colleges, which is the most vibrant, most active, most useful, most energetic places in the United States. University Conference. And we have seen what happens to the
in universities is often the heart of protest and the heart of change. So when you suppress that, you just kill the thing. So he's very correct here, Candace talking about all of these protests and stuff like that. But look at what happened to them. Did they achieve anything? No.
those young kids, they were vilified in the media, they were ridiculed, they were belittled, they had their careers. Some of them were shot. I have a friend of mine, Palestinian, he and two of his friends, they were shot, and now he's paralyzed from waist down. He's in all because he didn't even, he wasn't even one of the protests. He was wearing a keffiyeh and he was speaking Arabic. So if America, with all its might, can crack down on the most free spots in the United States, which is the universities, and we didn't. Do you hear anything about the university right? It took them like 2 months and they killed it.
Yeah.
What would prevent them from going door to door? It's going to be very, very small, and then they're going to get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because 3 years ago, you wouldn't think that they will have paid mercenary militias in American streets.
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago, you wouldn't think that there were like a university encampment where like they would be destroyed and demolished, and people will not have any chance in hell to even work in Silicon Valley because they're all.
I just love how he called ICE that is IDF militias on the American streets. That's exactly what they are, and this is what some people are not realizing. He's so good for telling her that. I hope that she pays attention to it.
All blacklisted. So what I'm saying is, we've been saying this for the past 8 years since Trump got office in 2016. It will never happen. We'll never go that far, but it's happening.
I'm not saying that it would never go this far. It has gone very far. I'm please. I'm banned from Australia. I mean, I have seen what they're willing to do. Their whole thing is to bankrupt you too. The lawfare.
You have the same danger as horses going into Australia. Oh my God!
I know, it's crazy. It's completely crazy.
They know that they ban horses from their Olympics. They have to play the horse.
It's incredible. I'm banned from an entire country over standing up for Palestinians, children, innocent Palestinian life, because we have to believe that Palestinians are animals or they'll ruin your life. I just think that it has worked in the opposite regard, and I think even military men, right? So you're right. It relies on the military being willing to execute the orders. Well, I'm having conversation with these guys in the military, and now they're waking up to what sits at the top of the military, because the corruption's always at the top. These men are amazing people that sign up. Then we're starting to go backwards. We're looking at the fact that, after LBJ, you put in some satanic people to run psychological operations. those people, of course, will go door to door and kill people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans, and
But there's also a lot of third world countries general that will not participate. And you know what the leader does? He will replace them and he will put people in their place who would do what he wants.
there's a lot of Americans.
And there's a lot of other Americans.
I don't know. I just maybe I'm too optimistic.
There's a lot of what he means by that. There's a lot. So you got the main goys, which are Americans, right? And then you got the sub goys, so people who are who are slaves of the Americans. So people who the American government puts into on top of other countries, right? So they appoint leaders, they appoint dictators, stuff like that. So this is what he's talking about, and I'm not sure if she knows it. She's pretending not to, or maybe like in her mind, this is all the Jews or something. You know, I'm not sure.
Other Americans.
I don't know. I just maybe I'm too optimistic, but I see them losing right now because they're reacting like an animal backed into a corner. And I'm not saying it's not going to get worse first.
Okay, here's the thing. You have 98% of Congress and the Senate.
That's just a bunch of
but those bunch of, they are the one who writing the laws. They are the one who write a law that says that they can take $28 billion or $30 billion from your tax money and give it to a different country. So those people, they're
stealing.
Yeah, they're stealing, but they are all bought by those lobbies. So what I'm saying is, if you buy enough people to control the government, you can buy enough people to turn the government to do something that the people here doesn't want, because there's a huge separation now between the political and the media elite and the rest of the people. Thousands of people.
I feel that he's explained it so well. So what she's not wanting to see that America has been sort of taken over and we need to do something about it. And he's trying to hammer that point in, and she's struggling to get it. Let's see if she gets it after this or not, or she refuses to get it.
Marching, but up there, the money is going somewhere else. And I'm just saying that it's not that far.
I'm optimistic. I know it sounds crazy. It probably doesn't sound crazy. I think in the end, God
she's
wins.
Optimistic.
I think they were clever. They've done a lot of stuff in the dark. They've kind of
This is a typical female moment, you know. I trust in God, you know. It's all gonna be good at the end. This is a typical woman moment here. If he was talking to a man right now, I think he would get it more. You know, be like, oh, we would have to do something about it. But women have been pampered for the majority of human history, that they don't know how to deal with danger. They do not recognize danger. Their best way is to avoid seeing it. Be like, okay, it's not here. Let's just put a blanket over it, and then, you know, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Such a female moment. It's so funny. And Bassem is like, wait, you don't understand. Just focus with me. This is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good. Your government is hijacked. Our government is hijacked. This is not gonna be good. But yeah.
God will win.
The awareness,
Which God will win?
The God is going to win, and I do think part of it was the awareness. They needed the spell. Like, you know, Bibi believed, yeah, we've got power, we've got politicians, we got this, we've got the, you know, we could take the guns, we can move all this, we can traffic children, nobody blinks an eye, we got Epstein out, all of this stuff. But it did rely on the trick of the illusion. And I think they underestimated how much relied on the illusion, and that's why they're panicking about Gen Z, because that's the future. And there's a lot of people. And would they, if they could mass kill everybody in this country? Yeah, they would. I believe these people are psychopaths. Like I said, watching their reaction to the Palestinians and what they've done to people for saying the right thing, like Miss Rachel, shows you that there's no life in these people. This is the synagogue of Satan. The people that stand up and say that's fine they're satanic. I genuinely wonder what happened to them when they were kids.
Maybe we don't need.
And I think they were
maybe we don't need a
brainwashed.
revolution. Maybe we need an exorcist.
We do actually. We do need an exorcism. I do believe that. I also think that it's sex based trauma. I think a lot of these people, just my research into Sigmund Freud, a lot of these people, when I see the way they react, they knew that they could create psychopaths by abusing kids in their youth. And I do think that a lot of these people.
I think that I missed part of that. So my camera sort of fell a little bit here. So let's just try to go back. All right.
we do need an exorcism. I do believe that. I do also think that it's sex based trauma. I think a lot of these people, just my research into Sigmund Freud, a lot of these people, when I see the way they react, they knew that they could create psychopaths by abusing kids in their youth. And I do think that a lot of these people
that is
behave
interesting.
like they are.
I mean, I've read about Sigmund Freud, and I'm not sure if this is something. So he experimented with children, and it was brutal and immoral. He did a lot of bad things to children, but was it to create psychopaths? I'm not sure about that. This might be her own jump, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I'm just saying it's unverified, so it's unproven. That specific point to make psychopaths. Yeah, this is unproven. I'm just saying.
Mind control slave. Like they're trauma based mind control, and because and I may cover some of my book club, but
that's also unproven to the most of my ability, though. And I might be wrong.
They showed that harming a child and what the child will do to try to rationalize why this happened to them and I'm not saying this happens to every person, then sets them on a path to become a psychopath when they don't understand why someone in their family would do something like that to them. And I look at some of these people, I have no other excuse. I have no other excuse, but your humanity just should come online at some point and you say this is wrong. And they don't. Some are being guided by money, some by blackmail, but the true psychopaths that you look at where they will just lie to your face all the time. And I'm like, something happened to you when you were a child and I'm sorry. And part of that was you truly believing.
What did you think happened to Ben Shapiro when he was a child?
Combination of things with him. I would love to know.
This question is not an actual question. It's a jab. So it's like he's proving a point that maybe nothing happened to Ben Shapiro. Maybe nothing. Maybe so he's putting holes in her narrative. And we'll see how she handles that, and how he handles her not being able to handle that, because I think that's what might happen. I feel like this will change Candace. This interview will change Candace. She will have that as a reference in future interviews, and it will shape her worldview. Because I think right now Candace is being exposed to somebody who knows a lot.
Child.
Combination of things with him. I would love to know.
really?
I would sit down and ask him these
would love
questions.
to
It's
know.
just not normal. Because he fixates. That's what makes me nervous about him. Is there's an obsession. He fixates. He can't let it go. He can't. He's been so fixated on Tucker Carlson. Even when I was at Daily Wire, it's like it's you would think, and Tucker never ever spoke about him. Never while I was there. It's a fixation, and there is a neuroticism there.
Fixation and neuroticism.
And I don't know what happened to him, but I know he's got like a very too close
Candace is a therapist now.
relationship with his dad. Like his dad follows him
Did you
to
think he
every
wasn't
job.
loved?
No, I actually think it's his dad's always with him, working with him at all times, at every job, follows him, tells him he's amazing.
yeah.
Like, so
that's
it's
why
different.
I'm so sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry I hurt your feeling. I didn't know that you went through that.
But his dad's apparently very angry, and so there's
I'm
a
sorry,
lot.
Mr. Shapiro.
But I do think they're brainwashed too. Like they actually don't realize that they will, like, hell is real.
I don't believe they're brainwashed. I believe that that they see us as cattle. I don't think I think that she'll look back to this interview and she will realize, that Bassem is more correct than she thinks. I'm almost positive.
It's real. Like you will go to hell.
What I said on Piers Morgan about is dealing with this narcissistic psychopath. Narcissistic psychopath are genuinely sick people. The world revolves around them. They cannot do no wrong. They would gaslight you into telling you what's not in front of you. They're not going to engage in conversation. They will only engage in conversation to wear you down and piss you off.
Yeah, that is true.
One of
That
the
is true.
interviews that I went to
100%.
by Piers Morgan, they brought someone called Jonathan Kornikis, who was like the ex-IDF spokesman. And out of nowhere, it's like there is no famine in Gaza. There is so many videos of fat Palestinians, and he emphasized on the fat. He knows that by him saying this, is like, how could you say that they want to trick you into getting under your skin? So now the conversation is not about what's happening in Gaza. It's about like now like what I've just said. And then they're masters in doing that, trolling that. See all of their conversation, all of their debates. Their point, the whole thing is to them making you lose control and lose your temper. So they will divert the conversation going somewhere else. You'll see that it's they're very good at doing this.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and
they don't care about the truth. They care about confusion. They always ask the question: if you have like a campus where you have 10% is pro-Palestinian, 10% pro-Israeli, what do you do to the other 80%? And the wrong answer is, I'm going to try to convince the 80% with my cause. It's like, no, their answer is, you try to confuse the other 80.
Yeah.
Just give any whatever like mantras, whatever like sound bites, just like to throw at the situation to divert the conversation. This is what they do.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like master manipulation, and I came out of it, so I realize now.
But welcome back.
Yeah,
this is kind of like rehab.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. It's funny. I was never like I wasn't out there speaking about the topic of Israel, but I did believe that where I was working were real media companies that were dedicated to free markets and capitalism, and that these were my allies in that sense, and defending free speech. And so there is something that's scary when you go, oh my gosh, how could I not have realized that I was actually, I'm just kind of being used.
I cannot imagine what does it feel like to be her, like how to be that dumb, to be so soaked into that and to escape from, from the teeth of the monster. It's like as if your head was in the mouth of a tiger and you were just doing that, and he was about to just bite you off, and you're just like, wait, what am I doing?
So that they can pretend they're this thing, but actually the only thing that matters is this one thing, which is like Israel and serving Israel. So it's been a lot to process that, but I'm grateful I was blinded to it, because it gave me almost a superpower to come up through it. I now know how the tricks work. I know who these people are. I know who they're connected to. I know who they're communicating with. I know what publications they're speaking to. I can see the hand of, Marissa at PragerU, who I adored when I worked for her. I'm like, oh, this is a Marissa thing. And so I think God wanted me blinded for that time. And so now when I'm telling the story about Charlie, even it has so much more weight. I'm telling the public, no, this is what was going on. This is who put this person in this organization. This is who he was arguing with. So it kind of, in many ways, I had to go through all of it. Otherwise, I'm just like throwing opinions at the wall. And it represents an existential threat to these organizations to go, okay, no, but she came from the inside. She's not just...
Exactly. That's why you and Charlie and all of the people who've starting to flip you are more dangerous like someone like me, because he's an Arab, he's a Muslim, he already
he did 9/11. Bassem did 9/11.
Of course I did.
It was your passport they found, right?
Yes, I had to get a new one. Damn. The whole thing about the passport, there was like a bombing attack in Paris 2015, and you can Google this, by the way. You just Google Syrian passport Stade de France, because also there was like a huge, like 50 people were killed by machine guns, and they conveniently found passports for Syrian people in Paris. What kind of very organized, meticulous, like
yeah.
Oh, here it is, a Syrian passport found near a suicide bomber at November 2015.
Right at the end.
And it's just like boom.
Yeah. Never mind. We don't have to. It was done by the Palestinians. Tyler Robinson.
Yes.
He just left this really big
what
clue.
Kind of very organized got together, terrorists who just like goes to all of these operations.
Come on. The best laid plans,
this is my last operation because I'm gonna die after that, so I better get my passport so I don't lose my way to the 72 virgins in heaven. It just it becomes so
ridiculous.
Comical. I don't know.
No, what's interesting actually is this background, which we haven't gone to on my podcast, but looking into the Charlie Kirk thing and these Egyptian planes that were tracking him and Turning Point USA faith events, was that the fake names, the real names on these passports, it's interesting how many are Palestinian, which is like, I'm convinced these were Israeli planes. That's why they're panicking about it. Like, obviously, like we all know Egypt, the whole thing, they're running stuff through Egypt, obviously. I was like, this is interesting. This person died in Palestine, and this exact full name is one of the passports. I got the list of every Egyptian name that's on this.
They always hide behind other identities.
Palestinians. I'm like, did you know this? By the way, a bunch of Palestinians were apparently in Provo well the day that
Oh
Charlie.
yeah, I mean this is where Palestinians have
Get excited! You guys should help me. The
they-
Zionist lobby help me. Did I? They're Palestinians. They did it.
I'm actually very quite. I'm actually happy that in like my life led me to actually live the American dream. I'm actually very happy. I'm a proud American, by the way. I got my passport 6 years ago, and I'm happy that I've established my American dream to finally come here, live in America, work my ass off, pay my taxes to sponsor Israel. That is my dream, because this is how. And it's funny because in the third world country, we
sponsor Israel.
used to that kind of control that happens after an invasion.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have to be invaded.
No.
It's more administrative. Like you don't need tanks or planes. All you need is a couple of fundraiser dinners.
You have to shoot JFK.
No, fundraiser dinners.
You have to shoot JFK and
get
then
enough
say
money.
one person did it, and then get all your boys into the military, and that's how America was taken over. Obviously. And then just get a bunch of homosexual men to go to DC, catch them on the apps, Lindsey Graham, and then I mean whatever they've got on Lindsey Graham, he's like terrifyingly supportive of Israel. It's like, no matter what they want, we got to bomb Iran right now. It's like his file terrifies me. That file, and Bibi just sits there like, and he just freaks out. I was like, I love you so much, blah blah blah. I'm like, whatever they have on Lindsey Graham, it's scary. By the way, how about we never got the answer to which congressman was sleeping with that young male intern or somebody that's working in the office on the congressional floor? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They wiped this.
I actually don't know this. So somebody has been sleeping with a male, so they're gay. What?
away. Or somebody that's working in the office on the congressional floor. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They wiped this away. That's how Israeli blackmail files are created. They got that story. We have no idea. This happened in a congressional building on the congressional floor, and we have no answers as to what that was actually about.
Yes.
Who was the congressman on the other side of that?
And it's funny, like how when everybody's talking about Epstein, I mean, like you cannot say like, oh, nobody's talking about Epstein. Everybody talks about Epstein, comedy shows, whatever, but they never talk about the very obvious connection with a foreign intelligence. You see, like open ABC.
Just give me a second here. We are back.
Epstein, NBC, Epstein, CNN, Epstein, Comedy Central, Epstein, but they never talk about the Israeli connection.
Well,
it's there,
Israeli,
right in
what do you
front of
mean? He was Hamas.
Ah, yeah, he was
That's when they'll start talking about it. Well, as soon as we work through, it turned out actually that
Yeah.
he was working for Hamas.
Like he was indicted 2008, and he was allowed to go to Israel during his
Yes,
his
that's
trial.
what's coming next.
He just like happens to go to Israel, and then he will come back.
That's why they put Barry Weiss to CBS. That's what's
Yeah.
coming. They're working on that narrative. They just have to figure it out. And it's like, it is the most despicable thing. That was for me done with Trump. As soon as he said what Epstein files, easiest way to lose me as talk about the children. If we can't defend the children, what kind of a nation are we? If we as a country turn away when we know children are being abused, and then I started to realize, oh, that's the name of the game. Like that's what the CIA is doing. They are trafficking human beings. This is what they are involved in. And we're all kind of waking up to that spell. And then they have us arguing with each other, left versus right. And that's why I'm like, are you team God or are you team Satan? And it's actually kind of shocking how many people are team Satan. I will say that.
Away from God and Satan, I'm a prime example of someone who when I got the day I got the American, I remember the day that I had my Pledge of Allegiance, 2019, December 2019. I remember that day I was so happy, not just because of becoming American citizens. The first thing that they give you as a new American citizen, they give you the form to write down your information for the passport, and the second form they give you is your voting registration.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is my first thing as an American, because I was there on a green card legally for 5 years, and I could only vote in local elections, but not in the general elections. And I was so proud that like, oh, now I can vote. It took me 4 years to completely be disenfranchised from the voting operations. Like, there's no point.
There's no point. It's all fake.
Because this is what the right and left do. They would kill each other, slit each other's throat over everything. Immigration, healthcare, open borders, closed borders, the wall, militarization, everything. But everybody will compete to be Israel's favorite bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's no point. If you are like a 50-50 of everything and you're only 100% on this one thing, there's something fundamentally wrong with this business.
I agree.
There's something fundamentally wrong with this.
I guess you could say my red line was the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah.
I'm like, if Charlie Kirk get killed in broad daylight and our states are colluding to cover it, There's only one state that would have that kind of power
Yeah.
to make them collude to cover it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's only one state in the world. Okay. Who's involved? All you have to know is Israel is involved because it's a cover up. That's it. There's only one nation that would be involved. You got Bibi calling him. Everyone's lying about it. They're pretending. I mean, Bibi going on a press tour immediately after to say, I did not
We
kill
did not kill
Charlie Kirk. I didn't kill. Whoa, buddy. We haven't even. And Trump drops the tweet with him hugging the Israeli flag. They were so obvious. It was like even no one had a thought that you did anything until you started saying you didn't do it.
And
He loved us. We didn't kill him.
And I just want to talk to the people watching us, especially like America First people. It's forget Israel, forget everything. I'm just sick and tired that like my hard-earned money is going to sponsor the lifestyles of Israel who have free education, free housing, free healthcare.
And Ukraine, by the way, because that's where they're actually.
Yeah. I'm the exact same way. This is making me boil. Why in the absolute F am I having my tax money going to those fucking disgusting people out of everybody else? You know, I'm not saying it's right if you're less disgusting, but gosh, you know, I'm struggling. I can't, man, my tooth aches, you know, and it's hard for me to get like to a dentist. It's expensive in here, guys. It's expensive as crap. And you're giving money to somebody who has a free healthcare, has a free education, who is this like I don't know. It's too much for my, you know, a little brain here.
Yeah,
they're from Ukraine.
Exactly. But like I'm working for the benefits of someone else in a different country. And this is
Right,
what,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now we
yeah,
have
it's-
the homelessness, we have the problem with healthcare. And I say, America is not poor.
Mind-boggling.
The problem with America that it lacks self-respect. We are being like pushed around like this is some sort of BDSM economics where basically we're sponsoring them, but for somehow we are their bitch. This is like dominatrix kind of level of like, you know, like slap my ass and take my money kind of thing.
Yeah, Trump pulling out the chair for Bibi is like symbolic of everything.
It's just how like I don't know about evangelical Christians who are used to that kind of humiliation, saying that like you're not even gonna be good enough as those people. But come on, have some self-respect.
Yeah.
It just pains me.
Yeah, and I say that about.
I immigrated for this.
Yeah. Well, that's look at even the drop in testosterone over the years. That's intentional. The mass poisoning of
do you think
men, the water. Oh, that's a fact.
Do you think we're now Americans are flaccid because of Israel?
Genuinely, we are facing this the testosterone crisis, as I call it. I mean, because the stuff they're putting in our water, the stuff they're putting in our food, and over time, what that's done is we do have too many theatrical boys that really want to go to DC because they want to be on stage. They want to go into media because they want to be on stage. And this is mine. I know that you disagree with this because you're more on the left. I think that none of that stuff means anything.
Yes.
But this is my ultimate contention with the pushing of the LGBTQ narrative is I see the more nefarious thing. They do not want the kind of people that are going to stand up. They want everybody obsessed with objects and buying stuff and the men doing their makeup.
It's about identity politics. It's not whether it's the LGBTQ, it's just
But
like
the attack on manhood is significant.
They want to attack. They want people just like having all of these fights between.
But the
each other.
masculinity is what they hate the most.
We need
True
more Viagra.
masculinity is what they.
I stand with Candace here. So Bassem Youssef is actually wrong here. She is absolutely right. So I did not expect to agree with Candace more than I would agree with Bassem in one point. You know, I agree with her 100%. There's an attack on masculinity in the U.S. Bassem Youssef, he has this sort of like, you know, he's still slave to this idea that, you know, that all the Zios put, right? So he's still brainwashed. He thinks that he's woken up, not fully. You know, he still thinks that the system that been put by the Jays is the actual good system. He believes that there is nothing wrong. You know, we should just accept, you know, those people and that people. No, Bassem, no. Maybe eventually he will get it. We'll see.
No, True masculinity is what they hate the most. The kind of guy that's going to stand up and defend for his family. That's what I'm speaking about when I say we cannot have this. They are telling men it is wrong to be men. It's like they hate masculinity. Full stop. You can be anything you want, but don't be a man.
It's so low T vibes.
It's low T. It's so low T. That's why I say everything is fake and gay. All right, we're gonna take. I know you guys will have a bunch of questions for him. We're gonna take a quick break to throw to some of our sponsors, and then I'll answer some of these questions. All right, you guys, let's speak about credit for a second because nobody really teaches
or 3.0 between January 2023 and January
month. Again, that is puretalk.com/Owens to make the switch to Pure Talk. Okay. We have comments. Charlie's Angels writes, yay for Candace hosting him when he was on the Nell podcast. I don't think that they got the message that he was telling them, that they were literally just used in the pattern and strategy that is employed on a much larger scale. Yes, they were. And I like the Nelk boys. They're great. Yeah. But it was very obvious that was one of the podcasts BB could get on, by the way. Charlie Kirk said no.
I told them, like, you were recruited in 2022 and you were activated in 2023. This is what they do. They were like, I noticed there was like a whole kind of recruitment that 2-3 years before 2023, as if they know it was happening, and they just like used all of these weapons once October 7th happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If they pursue talent, like I said, you're coming up. I started my channel on YouTube by myself, and if they think, oh, this person's got potential, they bring you in. They pretend that you're your friends. We're going to help you. Let me help you on your path, and then you divert from one thing they want, and suddenly you realize this is a gang. This is a literal gang, this is
I
want out.
This is how I know I'm not talented enough, because no one contacted me.
No one contacted you?
Damn.
I'm so sorry. I think it was the passport on 9/11.
I guess you are the anti-Semite of the year.
This person writes something important too. Walter Mitty Hunter says, look at the suicide rate of the IDF soldiers who top themselves after fighting in Gaza, even though they are guilty of a new Holocaust. There is a very high suicide rate. That is correct, because they probably figured out that you're a human, and when you are murdering children, you kind of have to live the rest of your life knowing and hearing those screams and understanding what you were told to do. You were brainwashed, you did it, but then you have the consequence.
Yes, and or you join Breaking the Silence, which is like the group of the IDF soldiers who they have a movement called Breaking the Silence. Ex-IDF soldiers who speaks about the atrocities that they did, and then now they come up and saying like what's happening behind the scenes of their operations in Gaza and West Bank, and it's been going on for years.
Wow. I would like to see that. It's
actually called Breaking the Silence. You should look it up.
Ama Musa writes, Ward Boston was a Navy judge advocate general who investigated Liberty, USS Liberty. Before he died, he published a notarized statement in San Diego Union Tribune that the investigation was a cover-up and the attack was deliberate. I mean, it's the most obvious deliberate attack. And it's interesting because the New York Times contacted me. They're doing some big piece on it because they are realizing that this issue is now it matters suddenly, and they were kind of trying to get to the bottom of it and found my video with Phil Turney because that got like 7 million views, and we're going, what made you want to do this and why this now seems to be a litmus test for the right. And I'm like, good, I'm glad it's a litmus test for the right, because it's absurd. We didn't know that this happened, and because Gen Z and all of us millennials are waking up going, if the government was willfully mass murdering their own military men and then covering it up, we still live in that system. That means these people are still in power. Until you can admit that the liberty was deliberate, the psychopaths are still in power.
It's interesting that you're getting that from the New York Times, who no one has its editorial team are full of people from ex-IDF and ex-Mossad. And
I think the angle is anti-Semitism, but we'll see.
Yeah, and isn't like the New York Times who had proudly published a piece like where they were saying there's more tunnels underneath Gaza more than the length of the New York subway system, which I didn't know that Hamas were great builders. They should come and build our own infrastructure. This is the New York Times. This is the level of proficiency. They had like screams without voices or whatever. They had like a whole piece about the rape hoax, which was completely fabricated. There were Israelis that were mentioned in the article said like that didn't happen. This is not what they told us. It's just
they did lie about the rape, which is crazy. Norm Finkelstein sat across and he explained everything thoroughly about how they lied about the rape and how he actually looked into it. And it's amazing because he's such an academic. That's why nobody wants to debate him.
Yes.
Because he's like, let me take the time and research this, and to hear him speak about that. But think about what kind of a person would make that up for propaganda, to say that babies were put in ovens and then to have us realize that that was all made up. It was all propaganda. And again, The reason why it's never a good idea is because the slippery slope inevitably is, okay, well, if you were lying about what happened on October 7th,
What else are you lying about?
exactly. And
Yes.
that was me.
But okay, they are lying. What about the responsibility of American journalists and American media?
Well, they built the American
They
media.
don't even. I mean, all of the information that we got about the Hannibal Directive, about Israeli soldiers killing their own people, about the stand down operation, we got this from Israeli media.
Correct. Yeah.
All of this in Israeli media, but not a single word about that in New York Times, about CNN, nothing.
Because they built those.
Yeah.
They
But
built that.
you will have Jake Tapper talking every single day about the fake rape stories, but he will never say anything about what's being reported in the Israeli media
It
themselves.
is true. It is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Katya writes, Candace, please tell Bassem that I loved him in the TV show Lioness as Amrohi.
Yes, please
He
watch.
is very handsome. I think she's hitting on you.
Oh, please. I'm
Crazy.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, there you
Thank
go.
Thank you.
Project Constitution writes, I agree with Phil Turney of the USS Liberty. I interviewed him on my channel too. His story is so
He is so cute.
powerful. When you look him in the eyes, there's something that just comes on spiritually. Like this man, he has held on to that day for decades, and all he wants is for the men that died. I mean, this, I can't even think about it. It honestly makes me choke up. Just what he lived through. He was 20, just a horror that you couldn't even imagine. And then the moment where he tells about the IDF soldier, and just describing a moment where they saw the IDF people coming in and they were like, oh, great, our friends are here. And then all of a sudden
They
his
open fire.
captain yells, prepare, we're about to be torpedoed. And that moment of consciousness when you realize that your friends are the ones that set you up, you can't even describe. You can't even think through that emotion where you're going, he's like, we had Star of David's, Star of David, Israeli flags inside of the ship. Because we were going out there to go protect them.
Yeah.
He's like, we see these black helicopters, we're getting attacked. We don't know who it is. We think it's Egyptians, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's one of their preferred angles, blaming Egypt.
Yeah.
Hence the Egyptian planes on Charlie's assassination day.
Yeah, we get blamed for everything, and they get all of the credit for building the pyramids. What the hell?
So we're getting attacked by Arab nations. And then suddenly you see these little IDF boats coming up and you're going, yes, okay, finally support. And and then he suddenly hears prepare to be torpedoed. And that IDF soldier then gives him the middle finger, made eye contact. And to this day, people are gaslighting him. They didn't know.
Oh, they didn't know.
It was a mistake.
And then it reminds me about this one of the big talking points about Israel being our ally. It's like, because I asked them, it's like, why are they our allies? Where are their allies? Why are we spending so much? Oh, we spend that much money for intelligence.
Yeah, so they can blackmail us.
So, but for intelligence. But okay, so the point of view is Israel is a great ally because they will tell us so much info to protect our leaders.
I feel like they've been just bonding, so both of these people, they come from an environment which are sort of like harsh like that, and a sort of environment which is, how do you say that? Like, where you would find a lot of people who are like, who would fool you, who would manipulate you. And so I feel like both of them are discovering that those people are the adult version of that, It's not like a big magic sort of like sorcery. I mean, it kind of is a little bit, but at the same time, it's the exact same people who are bullies, who bullied you in school. It's the same type of people who were liars, who were manipulators. They're not that smart, They're just stupid, dumb, and evil, and you just have to expose them. All right.
Our troops. In 1982, the very famous bombing of the American embassy, the American Marine Corps. 250 Americans killed or 50? I can't remember. It's one of the biggest casualties for American troops, 1982 in Lebanon. And there is a book by a Mossad agent called Victor Ostrovsky. It's called By Way of Deception. That in that book, he said that the Israelis, the Mossad, knew quite well about the bombing, when it's going to happen, the blue Mercedes-Benz van that was going to be used in the attack, and they withheld the information from the American troops, and they said, like, well, let them deal with it.
Yeah, of course.
Gosh.
I mean, it's a nonsense.
And that book, By Way of Deception, was the only book in the history of American literature that there was a gag order for 24 hours They managed to stop that book for 24 hours. It was the first and last ever gag order on an American book
Wow.
in the United States, and that's in 1992.
Also, actually, there was Hollywood Babylon too, and there's a reason for that. They then changed it. That's why they're obsessed with publishing rights, because if they own your book, when you die, they can change what's in your book. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Viktor Ostrovsky also was on camera speaking about how Jeffrey Epstein worked for them. And they're like, there's no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad, except the Mossad agent who literally came out and said that he was working for the Mossad, and the other Mossad agent as well who came out and said he was working for the Mossad. But there's no evidence. I love when they just say there's no evidence. That's one of my favorite lies.
Yeah.
There's no evidence.
no evidence.
Just because you keep saying there's no evidence does not make it so. But they believe if they just keep saying the same thing over and over again, it will eventually become the truth.
They shout lies into becoming true.
Professional gaslighters. Gaslighter for a living. You see, have you heard about, a hitman for hire? This is a gaslighter for hire.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence he was Mossad.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
No.
It didn't happen.
No evidence.
It didn't happen.
It did not happen.
It did not happen.
Zero evidence.
That's a lie.
It's crazy.
You're
I'm
just
like-
making this up. You just hate us.
Like, there's an overwhelming amount of evidence, actually, but their idea of evidence is when they are ready to admit it. That's the
For them, evidence is just suggestions. Like the same way we Egyptians treat traffic lights. Just suggestions.
Okay,
It's not-
Nadbois writes, thank you for hosting this live stream and talking about the subject, God's justice and power always win. Flagliano writes, thank you both for your courage. God bless you. Sesame writes, hi, I'm from
I'm ready
Switzerland.
to accept Jesus Christ right now. I'm feeling all of these crosses and all of these things. I feel
Surrounding you.
I'm ready to get Jesus
It's
into my
working.
heart.
It's working.
Yes.
Not My Place writes, when are you having the very public, famous, and influential Palestinian DJ Khaled on so he has the platform and opportunity to speak on behalf of the people of the nation that he came from? I have a whole thing about the DJs.
I don't think DJ Khaled is the right person to talk about the plight of
LOL.
Palestinians.
Yeah, 'cause
he didn't even talk.
What kind of Palestinian is he, hey?
Yeah, he's a kind of Palestinian who care about his Nike shoes more than his own people.
You should look into more DJs. I covered this. A lot of them are... agents from the Matrix. Avarice writes, this is how you know that Bassem is new here. College is not the freest place in the U.S. Come to the hood. In the hood, that's what I keep saying. It's not going to go down like that. They're going to go in the hood and be like, okay, this is the last thing that we got to do is we just have to take their phones home. They can't talk about Israel. That's what I'm watching. I'm live streaming that because I'm like, don't think it's going to go that way. I make the joke with Theo Vaughn because he comes over here for dinner. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's not even a joke. I'm like, America's going to be saved by Black people. And Milo said, he's like, it is the ungovernability of Black people that you can bank on. I'm like, we are going to save this nation because, as you can see, we have this, for some reason, there's just something within us that we're just like, no, actually. When they bring out the droids and they're going to take out the robots and they're going to be like, okay, we're going to control everything that you do and monitor you. Who was the number one group that was not getting that vaccine? You're welcome.
Yeah.
You are so welcome that you can always bank on the ungovernability of Black people because at the end of the day, we're like wired toward freedom and we'll be like, okay, you're doing too much, government.
Well,
we're not getting that vaccine. They were like, we'll buy you Nikes. We'll buy you ice cream. We'll get you tickets to see DJ this or whatever. And Black America was like, not doing that.
Well, Egyptians were practically Africans.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly.
So we will be with you.
That's what I'm saying.
To take us with you.
Yeah, it's you can bank on that, and that's I think what ultimately drove the Daily Wire crazy. It was like when they were like, "Oh, just do this thing," and I was like, "That's immoral. I'm not doing that. I'm absolutely not going to be governed. Well, we have a contract. I'm not going to be governed to say that it's acceptable to mass murder children. Like I don't care about money. I don't care about contracts. It's right versus wrong at a certain point."
Before the show, you told me about your last episode in the Daily Wire.
Yes, it was I think it was my very last. It was my very last. It was, or the second to last. Rabbi Barclay. It was really, retrospect, very
that's
funny.
What broke them. But this is what they told you, like you
that's
need
what
to go.
broke them.
But you didn't bring someone from pro-Palestinian. You brought like an Israeli or like a pro-Israeli Jewish rabbi who was just like telling you all of these. You just let him speak. You didn't interject.
So polite.
And that was enough for them to kick you out.
Rabbi Barclay is still one of my favorite interviews. I think it exists somewhere on Rumble. He was just so brilliantly a Jew supremacist. Like he didn't even realize it. Like they don't even know what they're saying. They're so confident in what they're saying. And they're like, let me explain to you why it's actually perfectly fine for Jews to murder people and why it's always wrong if somebody else says anything and insults a Jewish person. Why the words of Kanye West hurt much more than the bombs of Bibi Netanyahu. And I was just sitting there following him being like, okay, can I get a definition of anti-Semitism? And he was like, whatever we want. Oh my God. No, he literally said it's a hate that mutates. There can be no definition. It's like whatever we say tomorrow. And I was like, am I tracking this correctly? And I just let him speak, and it was a disaster. That's
vote in the comments if you want to see Candace do an episode about like the behind the scenes of that episode, because I would love to see that.
It was fantastic.
Yes.
I still always say he is always welcome back. I genuinely enjoyed it. I was on a roller coaster of like just trying to follow.
Do you think you can
I have not watched that, but it seems pretty interesting.
get him on?
And then I realized, I figured it out. This is supremacy.
Wait.
You could probably
do you
get
think
him.
can you invite? Do you think he will come if you invited him on this show?
I think he would. And you know what he did afterwards? He was like, I can help you. And he told me that I could have a private screening of October 7th. They were gonna bring the laptop to me to see what the Palestinian, what Hamas did. And then I would understand why racism is fine as long as it's.
Is it interesting that we never saw that
Zionists.
screening? We never saw this.
I was like, why can't we release it to the public?
2.5 years
You guys
now,
love that.
and so like there's stuff that we cannot.
We could not show you why. You show everything.
You show everything. Okay, there's something about showing everything. You know how people were talking about how IDF soldiers like film their like themselves like wearing women's lingerie and playing with the toys of the kids that they just killed. In any military in the world, there's discipline. They will not allow this to.
I just like how Bassem, he was like, would you be able to invite him here? Maybe we could have a talk, a chit chat. So he's really trying to go out there to understand how those people's minds work. You know, he's from a very total different environment. He's trying to understand how do the brains of those people work. He want to sit next to them face to face, see how they work. You know, he just really wants to. And from that point I could see he's getting more serious here. He's like, oh, okay, I can get even a bigger fish here. Let me try to get to the guides, you know, who are making these. You know, I want to talk to them. I think I hope that he succeeds. That would be very interesting if you have Bassem Youssef debating Barkley. That would be a very interesting interview. I would love to watch it.
Be aired unless they give them the direct permission to just like show and film their atrocities as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked a professor about this, like, why they're doing this. It's like they do that because they need the hate. They do that because more and more people will hate Israel, will hate IDF, and some of people will not make the distinction, and they will just like hate on the Jews. It's like, see, anti-Semitism. We are justified to keep doing what we want, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, I think you're actually.
I think you should do the episode, and even a bonus, bring that rabbi back.
I love that rabbi. I do,
You have
deep
to bring him
down, because
back.
he really. I was like, oh, you just want me to just say like it's okay for you to be racist and that you're more important than me because like you're Jewish and so you're extra special. And I was like, did you pay attention to anything I've done in my entire career? Like I was willing to stand up to my own people on BLM stuff when it was getting ridiculous. They're coming in on speech and everybody's a racist. I don't subscribe to this at all, whether it's a black person, a white person, or a Jewish person. But I finally hit the ultimate supremacy. It's Jewish supremacy. And if you do not bend the knee.
There's another rabbi called Yosef Mizrahi, and he talks in his videos very openly. He gives lectures in Los Angeles, in New York, and just first of all, he doesn't call him Jesus Christ. He call him J.C. Penney. He makes fun of like, oh, they J.C. Penney, and it's like those stupid Christians. They think that if they support Israel, it will bring back the Messiah, but it's not gonna be their Messiah. It's gonna be our Messiah. And he just like talks openly about how stupid Christians is, how stupid J.C. Penney is, how stupid all of this is, and they're just like doing it for us, and it is good to just use them for our behalf.
No, you are.
And by the way, I'm not, this is just like out there in the open. These rabbis just talk openly about how stupid Christians and Muslims are and how they use them to fight with each other.
Yeah. No, and I do believe that. I think they believe that Christians are stupid. And I think for too long, we have been not stupid, but we have been ignorant. We've certainly been ignorant. And that's because.
Well, if you have your own pastors telling
we've
them
also
that you're
been
not
under,
special.
yeah, exactly. We've also been under one of the most intense psychological experiments, I think, ever. America has been a psychological experiment. And if we can control the media, if we can control the education system, get them into school, if we can control Hollywood, yeah, it's pretty hard to wake up from that spell. But we're doing it. I don't know. I'm an optimist. I feel like because they're just becoming.
I don't know. I'm kind of half and a half. I'm not sure which is which, but Candace seems to. I don't like this attitude of being optimist without doing anything about it. If you're an optimist, I would say keep moving. You got to do something. You have to be confident in your own, because it's not gonna come out of the freaking sky. This, like our win, our liberation is not going to fall out of the freaking the sky. America did not get their independence from the British by being optimistic and believing it's going to happen and God is going to win. No, they did something about it. Action, you know. So I don't know. I just, so I'm more with Bassem a little bit though, not much, because nobody's acting enough. Nobody's speaking up enough.
Increasingly more unhinged because they're losing control, right? When they were cool as a cucumber and they didn't care and they weren't being all extra and fiery.
I've never heard that term before. Cool as a cucumber.
Right? When they were cool as a cucumber and they didn't care and they weren't being all extra and firing people, they had power. It's glitching.
Yeah.
It's glitching, and we're happy. That's the other thing. They are miserable. Every time you see them, they're angry, they're ranting, they're screaming, they're saying that they're victims. I mean, they're so vitriolic. They're like pulling up. Did you see what they did to Tucker's brother? Laura Loomer, by the way, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel
Laura
in terms
Loomer,
of
if
influencers.
If you descend that low, Laura
Yeah.
Loomer.
Yeah,
seriously.
they're desperate. That means they don't have. They used to be able to get Charlie Kirk.
No, but
now Charlie Kirk.
I still disagree that they are desperate, because
desperate.
if they're desperate, they're buying everything. I mean, they are desperate, but with a lot of money.
Yeah,
if
but
you have
people are
Larry
saying
Ellison
no.
taking away your TikTok, taking away your CNN,
Just give me a second. This needs to be connected to the power source. All right. Let's get back to it.
and HBO.
Yeah,
if
but
you have
people are
Larry
saying
Ellison,
no.
So, I see both of their points. So, Bassem is correct that, they're desperate, but they still have a lot of freaking money. But at the same time, they're losing. But yeah, so it's in between. I don't know. I side with Bassem a little bit more here. Just saying.
taking away your TikTok, taking away your CNN and HBO, and just like giving you all. They're angry and they have all of that
That's
money.
what makes them angry is they have all the money, they're buying it, and they're still have no influence. The numbers are not ticking upward towards Israel. That's what makes them angry. It's like, whoa, I'm a bajillionaire and I bought TikTok. Why aren't the TikTokers saying they love Israel? That's what drives them
But
mad.
do you think it matters?
I think it does.
But if you have that much money to make the biggest country in the world just like direct its weapon to whoever country they want, maybe they tell you that they're sad that you're not on their side, but maybe they don't care.
They care. They care. I think it's pretty.
Okay, so this is a discussion here which nobody really knows. But again, I slightly stand with Bassem here because I feel like if they were desperate, it would have been a lot worse. I feel like Candace is still too naive about this cabal. I'm just saying. I think she is way too naive here.
Pretty obvious, and get optimistic. I'm telling you, I think we're gonna win.
But I'm a comedian. I need to be pessimistic. That's good for my comedy.
Yeah, it is good.
I can't give you hope with my comedy.
No.
I need to give you despair and laugh about it.
Yeah. No, we do need the comedians though. I'm telling you, like Tim Dillon is. I'm ripping his content all the time. One day he's gonna send me a legal letter.
Are you still Team Trump?
No.
No.
Epstein. Get out of here.
Like so
that was it. That was like
it?
goodbye.
That's what
no,
would
I
break
mean
you.
I do not go halfway with defending pedophiles. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So how would you define yourself? Because now I'm completely disenfranchised. I cannot say myself I'm left.
I'm disenfranchised, and I love how they abuse me. Talk about going back to your narcissistic abuse. They literally are like, "F you, you can't get into the country, you can't get back onto a stage. We're gonna make sure you can never speak anywhere." And then they're like, "Why isn't she telling people to vote for that?" Oh, she's got the number one podcast. Why aren't you telling people to vote? are you out of your minds? I hate all of you. I think you guys are all a part of the same demonic entity. Your God is Satan. You guys are Baal worshipers. You will continue to kill and sacrifice children until you feel that demon rewards you. And I stand against
Candace,
you.
You're intense.
Yeah, this is how I feel about these people.
Intense.
They are satanic right and left at the top.
I cannot repeat that because
and that's what I want them to know is I know because of how committed these people are to Satan, because they literally hired Satanists to run psychological operations in the military, as we covered. Michael Aquino and
he's a
Paul,
Satanist?
Literally Temple of Set was at Fort Huachuca. Like started his own Temple of Set, everything. And that was the reason they hired him. They're like, these are the qualifications we're looking for. You got to listen to my podcast. It's very interesting.
I am listening to your podcast.
I'm not saying like, I'm not talking because this isn't like an allegory. I'm saying literal Satanists.
Oh, I remember that guy with his eyebrow. I remember the eyebrow. Oh, that's Aquino. That guy. He has another picture with more.
He started his own Church of Satan.
I have never heard of that guy, Church of Satan. I have never heard of this guy.
And after he had a disagreement he was in the Church of Satan, and then he had a disagreement with the guy who started the Church of Satan because the guy was like, well, we're saying like Satan as an idea. And he was like, no, I mean like real Satan. Like this Satan is not an idea. This was their great schism, the satanic schism. And so then he started.
So he's actually in the Church of Satan. He's just like a member of that.
Yeah. And then he started his own because they had this schism where he was like, no, Satan is a real being. And I believe in him as a real being, not an idea. So then he started the Temple of Set, which is Satan is a real being.
That's like Satanism on steroids.
Yes.
Wow.
And the military was like, I like what you're doing there. I like the idea of harming children. Let's bring you in to run psychological operations.
Said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not a joke. This is real life. What I'm saying, I'm not saying this to be cute about like, they're satanic. I mean, literally, we are fighting people that worship Satan. Like that is what I truly believe.
I'll be honest with you, I believe her, but I have never ever imagined in my life I would be face to face with something actual. Like this proves that because Bassem right now he's laughing because he's thinking to himself because he heard these stuff from a bunch of people who we thought are crazy, like your crazy uncle. You know, your crazy uncle used to say all of these things. Bunch of crazy people in the TV or in the media. If you are an Arab person, you have heard stuff like that from people around you, and you thought they were crazy. There's no freaking way. But right now, Bassem is being mind blown. I'm being mind blown. Like, wow, those people were not lying. See, Bassem, I kind of wonder something because Bassem is not a religious man. I kind of wonder, is it at some point he's going to become more religious after this interview? I think both of them greatly affected each other. You know, both of them are influencing each other in ways that they do not even know. It's very interesting. Candace is going to come out of this more galvanized and knowing that, you know, that she's in the right and how much of how much gaslighters dumb and they're not as smart as they seem to be. And Bassem is coming out knowing that all of these things that he's being told as a younger person from all of these crazy people actually have a point, which is mind-blowing.
Like Baal worshippers.
And then to find them at the end of the world, you know, in the U.S. out of all places,
and they sacrifice children, and
maybe he's into liberal arts.
Yeah, spells. Maybe, even the history of the Apollo program. Jack Parsons, what was he? He was a committed, avowed Satanist. They were doing sexual rituals. He was trying to summon demons, that's the problem. What do they say? Like the greatest trick Satan ever played was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And I'm saying to the world, he exists, and we're fighting these people who are doing everything in their power to make sure that he continues to have dominion. But we're waking up, we're recognizing that, and I'm optimistic. Because inevitably I'm Christian, Christ is king, truth is winning. And years ago, this would have never happened. You and me, this combination wouldn't have happened.
Where do I fall into this spectrum as a Muslim guy coming from
You did
Egypt?
9/11. This is like you're a Muslim. You did 9/11.
By the way, I have a funny story about this. I was actually in Miami weeks before 9/11. I'm not making this up. Okay. All right. So you understand my background before being a comedian and before being a satirist. You know, I was actually a doctor. I was a heart surgeon.
No way.
Yeah, I was a heart surgeon
Wow.
for 20 years before all of this. So the year that I finished my medical school, I had like a year off before I start like my I have like a time off before I start my residency. and I saved enough money, and summer 2001 I went to Miami. Why? Because I wanted to go there to teach salsa, to learn salsa. And I became a salsa dancer, and I came home, and when I went back home, I was a cardiothoracic surgeon, and I opened the first ever salsa dancing school in Cairo. I was doing that I have a very, very, very interesting background. So 2001 in the summer, my return ticket from Miami was 17th of September, 6 days after 9/11. And then my money ran out a week before 9/11. So I just like changed my ticket and I came back. And as I was just still like, jet lagged, my mom wakes me up. I was like, wake up! It's like, what's like, look at the TV. And I see like the first tower like going down. It's like, oh my God, I was supposed to be there.
Oh my.
I was supposed to be there in Miami where they actually had the training. And thank God, like I was broke before that happened.
Right. Well, thank goodness you were broke before that happened, because it was crazy. I mean, I just remember being like, I was like afraid of every Muslim. I was just like, they did such a good job.
Yes.
Everyone was in front of the TV screens. They were just like, it's the Muslims. Muslims is like, it was a whole simulation which lasted. I mean, I was literally instilled in me to just be suspicious of Muslims.
Yeah.
Like they were training us up as these little soldiers, but really all they wanted to do was just like bomb things in the Middle East for Israel, obviously.
We're just following
weapons
like
of mass destruction, say okay to war,
yeah.
in every country that
which
Netanyahu
makes
mentions.
Think, if we believe them at that time, why do we believe them now?
We don't. That's why they're spazzing out.
There's a lot of people who do.
We don't. That's the whole point. And that's why he's on camera and he's acting like he's in control. We got it by TikTok. That's not BB in control. BB in control doesn't say anything. BB in control is not doing podcasts in America after Charlie Kirk dies. That's not objectively a smart decision if you're involved with murdering someone. They just seem to be spiraling a little bit. And I do believe we're going to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. I do believe Israel was involved. And I will find out who killed Charlie Kirk. And
I feel like, see, this is my theory here, right? So I feel like they killed Charlie Kirk, or they facilitated that in order to create a potential civil war, so that we're busy with each other as Americans, so that they can steal more of our resources. They can get busy with each other, so you do not notice us. So we notice too much, so we got to fight with each other now. See, and the right is falling for that hard. Like the MAGA Trump people, all of this ICE stuff, like, oh, F the left, we gotta murder all the leftists, all the leftist people, they're this and that, they're falling for the thing hard. So I am in Ohio, so I'm seeing all of that. I'm seeing it all around me. The MAGA Trump people, they're just like, oh, renegade, if I was in that situation, I would have did the same thing. She shouldn't have done that. I would have done all this and that. So yeah.
Well, Piers Morgan didn't like that when I said it. It's like, oh, you're just like spreading conspiracy theories. Like, come on.
I'm so tired of the conspiracy. Like, just stop.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory is now anything that doesn't get repeated.
That hasn't been reported by Barry Weiss at CBS.
Barry Weiss. She's such a great journalist.
She can't even sit up straight. She's my favorite because I like that now they're just so naked about it. You know what I mean? They're just like in your face, blah, blah, blah. This is not a meritocracy.
They're like in your face incompetence.
Yeah.
They're just like getting like Ben Shapiro, Barry Weiss, and
like they could have picked a smart Jewish Zionist and kind of like held on to the illusion that like, oh, maybe it's meritocracy. He's a really bright guy. They're like Barry Weiss. She's like the most unimpressive person, and they put her there. And so every day, the hardworking employees who probably graduated with top honors at schools have to watch her walk in and pretend that she deserves to be there and is a serious person. I love thinking about that. Like she passes these cubicles every day to go to her big office, and she has no shame. She's just completely shameless. She's just like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm allowed to be here.
Now she's in control of Paramount Plus, which actually have Linus, which I have like a great scene there. So I think I was going to be removed.
Yeah.
They're going to remove me from there.
Yeah,
they're going to be erased.
She's so brilliant.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
By the way, I want to say this before we get off. Where can they go to support you? You're on tour?
Yes, I am actually having the Belly of the Beast tour,
Belly of the Beast,
which is basically talks about like my experience as a immigrant coming and finding myself that I'm a citizen of the empire. It's a very new, exciting feeling, like being part of this, which actually your story too. You were in the belly of the beast in the Daily Wire.
I was.
And you came out. I was out and I came in. So we have like
We
kind of like a
swapped.
tag.
Yeah, we actually we just
Yeah,
swapped.
I'm actually like my first. I would kick off the tour after Ramadan. My birthday 21st of March, so 20th I'm gonna be in Portland, 21st in Seattle, and I'm gonna be in Philadelphia, DC, Houston, Atlanta.
Wait, the 20th are going to be where?
20th I'm gonna be in Portland, 21st I'm gonna be in
Portland.
Seattle.
Okay.
So that's my first two.
But
big
where can they
shows.
buy tickets?
www.bassemyoussef.xyz, not
Yes.
.com. That's XYZ because X.
You guys go buy tickets, go see him. I mean, truly, watch in its entirety him on Piers Morgan. I really think it's got to be the most views Piers Morgan's ever got. That thing went absolutely viral, and for very good reason. It awakened a lot of people, myself included. So anybody who's interested in suing me this year, you could also just sue him. I think that's easier, probably.
Come to my show. Then
Everyone is
sue
like,
me.
"Oh, Candace is crazy. She needs to have her." Have you considered going after him? He's the reason that I did everything. No one's been going after him. It's a little bit ridiculous that I wanted him out of the year when it was the entire thing was his
canceled a
fault.
few shows.
I brought him on here to say that I didn't do anything. I am a victim, and if you want to sue someone, it should be Bassem.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, this was amazing. I love this. I don't know what to say. This was full of, oh my gosh. I have a feeling that nobody is gonna be watching this. So yeah, because YouTube has been shadow banning me or something, or hates me so much. I don't know what is up going on, but yeah, YouTube is not a big fan of me apparently. So yeah, I'll try to upload this today, which is about 2 days after the thing was uploaded. Man, I was all over throughout part 1 and part 2. They talked about a lot of things. This is big. This is huge. This moment will be remembered, for generations to come. This video will be just. I know it doesn't seem like, oh really, this interview? Yeah, because this marks the first time an honest conversation between somebody who's like Candace, who is from the ghettos, who's from America, and somebody who's, as he said, from outside of the belly of the beast that made it in. This is more than you think. And even me, as an Arab American guy who is in Ohio, who is, I would say, more on the right side of things. So I'm more right than left, I would say, but slightly. So I'm in the middle, a little bit more right, I think, because I disagree with LGBTQ and stuff like that. I found myself agreeing with Candace more on that. I found myself, as an Arabic person, I agree with Candace on this. I did not imagine that. I did not think that that would be a thing. So, I don't know. This was really interesting. I love this. I think this brings hope to the whole movement that maybe that we will be free, even though that ICE and all of that are making people dumb and making people trying to fight each other. I was hoping that this would be talked about a little bit more. But beggars cannot be choosers, right? So it is what it is what it is. All right, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Stay strong and don't budge.